Hi everyone, my name is Lena and today we're going to brew together Chemex, which happens to be one of my favorite brewing methods, especially when I have people over, because in this way, by the time I make a coffee for myself, I can actually enjoy the coffees that I made for other people. Why I love brewing on Chemex, it's because it helps you brew for more than one or two people at once, which is really nice. Also as well, thanks to the thickness of your filter, which is something that is very specific to Chemex brewers. A lot of the coffee oils actually get filtered out and they don't get passed into your final brew. And like that, we end up with a nice, very clean body for our coffees. So in terms of what we need to brew 3 cups Chemex, I have my coffee that's already pre-ground. Today we're gonna brew one of this lovely Colombian coffees. It's an anoxic washed coffee from a farm in Colombia that we've been working with for a while. You will need a paper filter. You will need obviously the Chemex brewer, a scale, and a kettle. If you don't have an electric-based kettle where you can control your temperature, that is absolutely fine. You can use hot water, but just off the boil. You don't want the water to be really hot. You want it around 93, 94 degrees. So right after it boils, if you just let it sit on the counter for a couple of minutes, you should be good to go. Right. The most confusing part when we're brewing Chemex for the first time, it's always the filter, and I remember finding myself in that situation as well. How do I fold this? So it comes in a square. It's actually very easy. You just take one of the thin parts aside and you kind of make a hole in it. So you have just one layer of paper on one side and 3 of them on the other side. Basically, what we're having, the middle bit of the paper, it's the actual filter with a double wall, if you want, to help us filtrate more of those coffee oils, yeah? Very important to put it with the thick part of the filter where the spout of your Chemex is. Like that, we're gonna avoid the paper sticking to the wall of the Chemex, yeah? First things first, very important, take a bit of water and make sure you pre-wet the paper filter. This helps us achieve 2 things. First of all, we're gonna get rid of the papery taste that we don't want in our coffees. Also as well, by rinsing the paper, I am heating up my Chemex as well, or my brewer, either if it's a Chemex, a V60, any type of brewing method you choose. This is a very important step. We don't want your brewer, you don't want your brewer to be very cold. Otherwise, the temperature from the water, instead of going into extracting your coffee, is going to go into heating up your brewer. Right. This is now ready to go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of the water, place my Chemex on the scale, make sure the filter is nice snugly in, tare your scale, and then first thing, we're going to put the coffee in. Grind size for this coffee, we went for medium coarse, like salted coarse salt type of size. I make sure I put my scale on 0, I tare it, I take my kettle, and then I start the first phase of my pour, which is putting 50 milliliters of water into the Chemex, into the water. As soon as I hit the 50 milliliters, I stop, and either using a spoon, what I want you to do is basically move it gently through the coffee bed, left and right, up and down. Why are we doing this? We want to make sure that all of the coffee grounds are perfectly wet with water. This phase is very important in coffee brewing. It's called a bloom. Now what we're doing, we're getting rid of all of the oxygen that got trapped in the coffee beans in the roasting process. Like that, because the oxygen is out, whenever we're gonna come in with the bulk of water, we're gonna have a better extraction overall for our coffee. I'm waiting until 50 seconds. As soon as my bloom is ready, I'm gonna go in with my second pour. I'm going round in circles, quite gently. You don't want to be too fast to disturb the bed too much, but in the same time, you don't want to be too slow either. Otherwise, the water is not gonna go deep enough to penetrate the coffee bed that's sat at the bottom. You keep pouring in circles until you reach 300 milliliters. And you give it 30 seconds. What I like to do is give a little swirl as well. As I said, or with a spoon, you can gently mix it up and down, left or right. What you don't want to do is to scoop the coffee from the bottom of the filter. The reason why we always recommend to give it a little swirl is because when we're pouring the water in, coffee grounds, they float, they get suspended in the water and they get stuck to the walls. If they stay there, now we're gonna have less coffee at the base of the filter for the same amount of water, which is gonna result in an unbalanced cup. After the 30 seconds has passed, I go in with the rest of my water. So basically pour gently in circles on the outside and on the inside as well. It's more like a spiral shape, if you want, until you hit 500 milliliters. Perfect. A final swirl, twice to the left, twice to the right, to make sure we get all of those grounds that are suspended. And there we are going to wait for all of the water to drop down through the coffee bed. With this type of brewing, I am expecting a full-bodied coffee, very sweet, with a nice, even though it's full-bodied, it's going to be quite clean in the body as well. And yeah, as I said, Chemex, it's one of my favorite brewing methods, and I always have a Chemex in the house. When I'm not using it as a vase for my flowers or as a water carafe, I definitely make coffee for all of my friends and my family when are coming over. Thank you for watching.